Hello and welcome to episode 3, lesson 3 of compilation 1 of English Chinese characters, ECC. We're really getting into the meat and potatoes of some of this stuff, and today's lesson is interesting because it's showing you how ECC is this new constructed system, more so than just a rehashing of a previously created system, the original Chinese characters. So you're going to see a lot of invented characters today. Ones that I've personally made, altered from original characters in order to meet the needs of English. So the first character we're going to learn to draw is the character for M, and this is it. There's a square on top, and then there are a mixture of horizontal and vertical lines, and then sort of feet. It almost looks like a person is walking, right? Alright, very good. So that is M. And you might wonder, how did I make up this character for M? Where did I pull it from? And the truth is, I took it from the Chinese character for am/is/are. They don't conjugate. They don't have a need for these variations of their character, whereas English does. So they just have the one character to mean, is, and that's what we're going to use it for is. So this is an actual Chinese character, and this is how you draw it. And the only difference between am and is in English, Chinese characters, would be this line that goes through the middle. So I want you to think of it as a sort of logical cascading. So first person, I am, that is going to be the most basic, right? It's just myself, so there's this square. Whereas for someone outside of me, he or she or it's this next level. So there's a line through it, right? It's this next level. And the character we're learning next is also an invented character, and it's going to be the character for are, as in we are, you are, they are. And like the others, we're cascading, so we're one level further away from the self, right? It's not just he, she, or it's a plural, this larger entity. So it gets two lines for the center. So it's the most complex, really. So M is are. Those are three. One of them is an actual Chinese character, two of them are specific to ECC. The next character we're going to learn is the character for good. And this is a good character to know. It's made up of two radicals. One radical we already learned. It's the radical for woman or female. And then the character next to it, that's this one. It's going to be the radical for child. So together, woman and child, it's going to mean good. And this is how you draw it. Right? Quite simple. Now we're going to go over some sentences. So I'll show it to you. Take your time, try and read it, and then see the answer. So this is the first sentence. I am good. I am good. Very good. And here's the second sentence. What does it mean? You are good. You are good. Very good. And the next sentence. What does it mean? She is good. So the next character we're going to learn is the character for It's a variation of the Chinese character for one. So it's the character for one that we learned, but we're going to put a little slash through it to represent the indefiniteness of it. Because the Chinese languages don't have a word for they don't have an indefinite article. So we're just creating our own. And it makes sense. It's based off of their character for one. Now, you could wonder, why wouldn't we just use their character for one to mean for two reasons. One, there are different things in English. We need two different characters. And we also want to be faithful to their numbers, because numbers are a very universal thing. We want them to be exactly the same, character-wise, in each of our orthographies. Okay, so very good. Our next character is going to be the character for have, and this character, I don't know, you can look at it like there's these two lines on top, and you can look at it almost like they're grabbing something. like they're clasping something. So, you know, it has something. And though we're not talking about that radical today, the radical underneath it is actually a moon. So it's a radical for moon. It's almost like you have a moon. Alright, very good. So next, we're doing the character for has. For the character has, it's going to be the same as have, but there will be a line under it. Remember, the line in the bottom periphery of the character is going to represent either the third person singular agreement, the s in has, or eats, or goes, or it's going to be plural, as in boys, or girls, or men. We're going to do a few more sentences now. Please take your time, read them, really, like that's what this is. Like you're really just looking at something and trying to remember and trying to decipher. You're focusing, you're looking at it, your brain, I don't care if it takes 1 second, if it's instant, or if it takes you 10 seconds to remember and to read it. That's what it's going to take. You just need to keep practicing and it will become instantaneous. So this sentence, what does it mean? It means he has it, right? Notice the line under have makes it has. This next sentence, a little longer, what does it say? You and I have a ball. You and I have a ball. Notice the little line through the one character makes it a ball. Very good. What about this one? These are a lot of characters from last lesson. You should know them by now because they're going to be coming up again and again and again. This says, the chair has a fruit. The chair has a fruit. Okay, very good. So the next character we're going to learn is going to be the character for child. It has the child radical from good, which makes sense if if the character means child. So we do that on the left side, and then on the rightmost side, it's a little complicated. There's a lot of steps you'll see, but I think it kind of looks like a person. Like there's a head, and then there's like shoulders, and then there's like these arms, and then the bottom can be feet. Like you could conceive of it being like a child if you wanted to. And the next character we're going to learn is the character for man. And the character for man is made up of two radicals. The radical on top is the radical for field. You'll see it's the same as from the character for draw that we learned and paint, right? It's this 4-quadranted paper. It's a field, right? So men used to work in the field, and to do that, they needed this other radical, which means strength, right? This sort of like, this pointed kind of daggery thing, it's strength, right? So men worked in the field with strength. That's how they got the character for man, right? The next character we're going to learn is the same as the radical for woman, so it's the same shape that you've learned, but here it represents w or wi, and it's going to be combined with the man character to make up woman or women, right? So I know some feminist perspective might be kind of annoyed, like, why does the woman character need this man character to make woman? Well, Chinese actually doesn't do this. They would be independent, but because of English's historical evolution, the word for woman entails man. It's not fair, it's how it is, but I like to look at the right side because it's kind of cool. The woman word made up of two characters, wo and man, it's kind of more fair to women because instead of being this sort of, just bosomed object, I mean, if you look at the character for woman, it's just sort of like a bosomed woman. But, right, but now women are getting some credit, right? They also worked in the field, they also have strength. So maybe it's a good thing that women can sort of claim this aspect now via ECC. Okay, great. So those are all the characters we're learning today, but we're going to run through some sentences now. This sentence is the first one. What does it say? Am I a child? This is the next sentence. Is she a woman? Here's the next sentence. What does it mean? Are you a man? Are you a man? And now we've come to the part of our lesson where I give you an actual Chinese sentence, and you can see if you can try and decipher it. You don't know Chinese, you can't read this, but you know ECC, so maybe you can make sense of it. So here is that sentence. What do you think it means? So the English translation of this Chinese text would be "she has a ball." That's what it means. But if you were reading it as an ECC speaker, you would read "she have ball," "she have ball," which is ungrammatical, which doesn't make sense. But the important point is that the idea here, especially in these very simple sentences, this isn't like Shakespeare or anything. These are just sort of simple sentences that you would come across. It, gets translated very well just through these symbols, not through any shared spoken language. It's through a shared written language to a degree. And it is language. I know some people would probably argue that it's not, but we are communicating via symbols that are shared. So the actual English sentence then, written in ECC, would look like this, of course, right? She has a ball. Okay, so that's the end of the third lesson. Please stay tuned for the quiz. Really study, write, read, and we're going to just sort of start pumping through these things. And sooner than you know it, you're going to be able to read complete text. I'm going to write like whole paragraphs for you, conversations for you, that you're going to be able to read in English. So it's going to be really cool. So keep at it. Okay, bye.